Welcome to this video on the Rising Devil strategy. If you're a newer trader and you've looked at the gap up or the gap down list and thought, what do I do with this information in the morning and how do I trade it? The Rising Devil strategy is a simple way to trade this information. The strategy is a bearish strategy, so we're looking only at stocks that have gapped down in the after hours or pre-market from their previous day's close. Ideally, we're looking for at least a 5% gap down. And we want to see at least over 100,000 shares of volume traded in the pre-market. This shows there's participation in the stock. We also want the stock to be trading below VWAP. This shows that there's continued weakness in the stock. Now let's take a look at this Rising Devil setup on Tesla on this day here, April 10th. We can see that Tesla closed right around 185 the prior day. And shortly before the open, it's sitting around 179. Now, this isn't technically a 5% gap down, it's more around 3.5%, but it's still a rather decent gap down and it can offer a good trading opportunity. Remember, the ideal gap down is 5%, but the goal is to make sure we're at least gapping down, showing weakness, and also sitting below VWAP, which you'll see here from this blue line. Our stop loss in this setup is going to be above VWAP, so we want to make sure that we're at least below VWAP. It's a very important component of this strategy. Now, let's go ahead and move over to the replay simulator at tradingterminal.com and walk through how we could have traded this setup on this day. All right, so here we are in the replay simulator, and what you'll notice is we are sitting below VWAP, as pointed out from the screenshot in DOS. You can see that here with the same blue line sitting here on the 2-minute chart. Now, what we want to look for is ideally a pullback close to VWAP to enter into the position because our stop is going to be above VWAP. That's going to be our protection in the trade. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press play on this, and we're just going to see what happens at the open. Now, ideally, I want to be as close to VWAP as possible, so we can see that this is starting to push up, trying to get to VWAP. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter into a short position because it looks like it's struggling to get over it. Now, I could add into this position as it breaks this low here in the pre-market, but we'll just go ahead and let this ride. You can think of that for future trades. But we'll go ahead and just watch this. It is dropping on very decent volume here, so it's showing that there is a significant amount of selling occurring. So we can go ahead and we can hold on to this momentarily until we see any signs of this starting to reverse. So I'll go ahead and just put in here some orders to sell, and we'll just look and see if there's any signal of the stock trying to make a pullback or reverse. So we still have decent volume. And it looks like that could be an area where we start to pull back a little bit. Notice how we form a doji on pretty decent volume here, and we're starting to get above it and break to the top side of it. So we've gone ahead and we've taken a lot of our position off. This is a momentum trade typically at the open. So we're looking for the drop and we're looking to take a decent amount of our position off. Now, the good thing about this type of trade is that you're continuing to use VWAP as your protection. So as this is continuing to push back towards VWAP, we could consider adding into our position as it gets a little bit closer. Again, VWAP is our protection. So if it gets above VWAP and it holds above VWAP, we want to be out of the trade. That's our goal. We don't want to be in the trade anymore once it gets above VWAP. Now we're starting to test VWAP, so we want to see if it's going to get above it and hold above it for us to decide if we want to get out of the position. So it's starting to push. We'll just wait and see. And it looks like it's struggling to hold onto it, so we're going to go ahead and add into our position here. This can be a place for an add. This could be a place for you to get into a position if you miss the initial opportunity that it presented at the open. Notice how the volume's increasing, so we do get that confirmation on volume. And again, our protection is VWAP. If it gets above VWAP, we want to get out of it. Now again, it looks like we've got a little bit of a volume pickup here on a doji candle, so there's a possibility that it's starting to stall out again. I'm going to go ahead and buy back a little bit of my position. And what I'm noticing here is it's starting to form a little bit of a higher high scenario. So if it starts to get above VWAP here, I might just exit the rest of the position. Again, you could continue to use this as your protection, add into it and carry it for another leg down of a trend when those occur. But what I'm noticing here is that VWAP is starting to flatten out, which means that it could have the possibility of turning upwards and actually going the opposite direction. So as we get up to this, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to buy back the rest of the position. And now I'm fully out, I'm fully flat on it. This is a momentum trade at the open, but you could still have the opportunity to get into it later as it retests VWAP. And you can use VWAP as your area to add into the trade and really maximize your profit. So this is the Rising Devil strategy, a great strategy to use for gap downs. Be sure to check it out in the replay simulator at tradingterminal.com.